Welcome to Glove Talk, a channel all about boxing, boxing news, and fight predictions. Today, we're going to be talking about Joseph Parker versus Junior Fa. So let's get into it. Let's get into the stats, breakdown, and then we'll get into the actual fight prediction. Okay, stat-wise, Junior Fa is a little bit older than Joseph Parker. He's a little bit taller than Joseph Parker, and he has a 4.5-inch reach advantage over Joseph Parker. So now let's talk about Junior Fa, and then we'll talk about Joseph Parker, and I'll give you my prediction. Looking at footage of Junior Fa and kind of looking over his record, what was interesting to me was he had some very unusual kind of record that you don't normally see. He had, out of his last 9 fights, he's had either first round knockout or he's gotten the distance. Usually you don't see that. It was kind of a unique thing. I think he has 3 fights that he just had first round KOs, and then everything else went the distance in the last 9 fights. Kind of unique to see that. That also might speak to kind of the opponents he has been facing. So things I like about Junior going into this, he's good size, looks like he has decent power. I like his uppercut that he throws. It looks like he has some great power behind that in particular. Very good reach. That said, things I don't care for, after watching some footage of him, he has 0 head movement. I mean, non-existent head movement. He's very flat-footed. He comes basically straight to the opponent. He doesn't cut off the ring or anything like that. He's just not very polished. He's just not a very polished guy. But he has kind of the physical presence, I think, to just bully the guys he has fought. So now let's talk about Joseph Parker, pros, cons, and then we'll get into prediction. So biggest pros for Joseph Parker, in my opinion, he's got good hand speed. He moves well. He's got solid power as a heavyweight. He does have something that I think is critical for a heavyweight, which is a fantastic chin. He's not a guy that's easy to break down. We've seen that both with the AJ fight, even the Dillian White. We saw these guys throwing huge shots and both guys absorbing them at certain points. So I think going into this, we see a guy that has been in the ring with Andy Ruiz Jr., AJ, and Dillian White, all top 10 guys. So that's something to certainly note for this fight. The cons for Parker going into this is that his last 3 opponents have been fairly low level. His last fight was a year ago. In 2019, he had 1 fight. So he's been fairly inactive the last couple years. And that's a little bit concerning going into this fight. You know, there is certainly some kind of rumors I've heard. They're rumors. I don't know how true they are, but you know, people have said that he isn't super focused on boxing when he's not training for a fight, you know, likes to go out, have a little fun. So, you know, these long layoffs, they're not good for guys, especially guys that are getting close to their early 30s, late 20s. This is kind of prime time. This is when you should be getting after it. So that's a little concerning. We've seen what happens with ring rust, especially with this COVID ring rust. We saw it with, you know, Warrington against Lara. We've seen it. It kind of reminds me a little bit of how, you know, what could possibly happen, like we saw with Joshua Buatsi. You know, he had been inactive for quite a while, kind of got in the ring, had to really shake off some ring rust, and he didn't look super polished. That could happen here for sure. So now let's go into prediction time. Okay, this fight has a slight bit of upset, in my opinion. There's a slight chance of it, and I say that because of the things I just mentioned about Joseph Parker, the inactivity, the low level opponents. If he gets complacent and he doesn't take this fight serious, he's going in there against a guy that has physical attributes that could hurt him. And like I said, if you go in there and it's heavyweight division, and you know, anything can happen with a single punch, especially that uppercut. I could certainly see this possibly, just slightly, as an upset. That said, I would not bet the house on that one. I think that it's most likely looking at Junior Fa's kind of skills and record and everything, he's really, I think, easy pickings for Joseph Parker, even a Joseph Parker that's not 100%. I really think that he just doesn't have the skills to kind of stop Joseph Parker, because that's what he's going to need. He's going to need to stop Joseph Parker to win this fight. I think, you know, Parker in general has an amazing chin. He's fighting against a guy that's never even gone 12 rounds. And so I would question Junior's gas tank in this fight. I think he's going to gas out in like the 7th or 8th round. I would not be surprised to see Parker gas out in this fight. We could have a situation similar to Dillian Whyte versus Mariusz Wach. If you guys remember that fight, Whyte came in the heaviest he's ever been as a heavyweight, and they both gassed out terribly, and it was just an ugly fight. That's what I think is going to happen with this fight. I could see both guys just not being in the best of shape. Parker mostly because of layoff time. Fa because he's fighting a 12-round fight. He's never even done that before, and he's just not world level of, you know, he's just not world level. He's just not. So in my opinion, I think this is going to go the distance, and I'm going to give it to Joseph Parker to win by decision. That's my opinion. Let me know yours down in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button. If you enjoyed the channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button. And with that said, we'll talk to you later. Thanks.